Alrighty, looks like we've got adventures and base here. The landscapes are ball and plan, and we've got the page line. So page advances to treasure hunter, then to warrior, hero, and ultimately champion. That all starts from page. Generally a very strong card. What else? For draw, looks like mainly storyteller. Magpie can draw treasures, and warrior can draw the third card of the page line. I think the only village is champion, right? That can be annoying sometimes. Kingdoms where page is in the kingdom and it's the only village because your deck goes from 0 to 100 real fast once you get that champion down. For trashing, Ratcatcher and Plan. And then for plus buy, Bridge says plus buy. There's also a workshop for gains. And there's some synergy there. You play at least one bridge troll, and then your workshops can gain cards that formerly cost 5. You play 4 bridge trolls, and workshops can gain provinces. Maybe comes up. We'll see. Ball, also, again, some little synergy there. You play 4 bridge trolls, and then you could ball for 2 provinces. Okay, how to open. Generally, in the opening, it's important to get started early playing the page, especially here. That's probably doubly true because it's real significant that you get to champion ASAP. Then that's when you can start playing multiple bridge trolls. You can maybe play attacks if that's relevant. You can play workshops. Champion also blocks attack. The militia might just not come up. So almost certainly page should be one of the 2 opening buys. Page Dungeon and Page Magpie both make sense. Dungeon just gets you cycling, playing the page really often. Magpie is a card where you want to get it early because it proliferates, and then you got Magpie early, it often turns into 10 Magpies. I could also see Plan on Page, turn 1, buy Page, turn 2, trashing a copper early. All 3 of those sound quite good to me. Uh, so Plan Page, buy Page leaves you with a 10 card deck, one of which is Page. That seems good if page is in your turn 3 hand, because you'll play page and immediately trigger a shuffle, and see it again as soon as turn 4, most likely turn 5. That's a bit sad if page is in the bottom 5 cards out of 10, because then you'll play it turn 4, it'll trigger a shuffle, and then it'll cause itself to miss the shuffle, which isn't great. You could partially resolve that by buying a turn 3 dungeon. That's all sounding fine. What about page dungeon? That works out well if you find the page turn 3, and badly if you find the page turn 4, which is kind of similar to the previous opening. But I think I'm convincing myself that I like the plan line a little bit better. How goes the militia, which I do not like. I don't think I care too much about hitting high price points early. So to me, that isn't a very big threat. All right, so I missed my page, which means I should buy a dungeon here. That militia actually, okay, actually it's kind of annoying. Specifically because I hit my turn 4 hand right before I trigger a shuffle. So these 2 coppers I discard are going right back into the shuffle, and now that shuffle is longer than it otherwise would have been. That's actually making quite the difference, in fact. Because now that means the dungeon doesn't draw far to trigger a shuffle, which I would want to trigger to get back around to the treasure hunter. I feel entirely confident militia is not a very good opening, and I'm kind of annoyed at how situationally impactful it has worked out here. Okay. I could probably take a magpie now. Would not like to let those go 10-0. Actually, it's a ball for a double magpie since I happen to hit 5. That's not no downside. Ball comes with a -1 coin token. I don't super much care about that. Militia has struck again. 4 money. I think a second dungeon is in order. Sounds all right. Actually, I should have thought about that a little bit more, the exchanging. It is not trivial that you want to exchange later pages and send them up the line. You only ever need 1 champion, barring very unusual circumstances. Sometimes you want a hero, Doesn't seem obvious here. I mean, hero is okay with storyteller. You maybe want some golds, but not super important. A lot of the time, what happens is you have one champion, and additional pages, you often want to stop him on warrior for draw. Once you got the champion in play, warrior is just like a laboratory that also potentially attacks. The downside is you got to go through treasure hunter, and if you're gaining multiple silvers just to get a card that's +1 card worth of draw, you're often making your deck less reliable, not more, because you filled it with more junk. And if we're at the stage in the game where you're gaining multiple cards per turn, that could be true. And maybe I should have left a cantrip page rather than trying to get a warrior by way of putting a bunch of silvers in my deck with Treasure Hunter. Uh, Alright, let's play the Magpie. Only took 1 silver there, that's not so bad. Crashed Magpie, also not so bad. And I've got a big number. This should probably just be Storyteller now. I really want to cycle myself back around to this hero as soon as I can. Also, I probably should have added a rat catcher at some point, just to help deal with these junk cards more. I'm not exactly sure when I would have added that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, 2 silvers isn't ideal, but I'm not sure the aspects are going to get better if I wait longer. I think I want to draw exactly 4 cards here. My hero is down there, so I want to draw at least 4 cards to make sure I find it. Uh, yeah, I think I draw 4 cards. If I draw more than 4, I trigger a shuffle. This should be fine. Ball looks really good here because I'm under the Swamp Hag attack, and that only triggers when you buy a card, or it used to say it triggers when you buy a card. Now it technically says when you gain a card you bought. Ever so slightly different, not really. Um, but Ball gains you cards in the buy phase, but it doesn't gain you cards that you bought. And so it's not going to trigger the Swamp Hag attack. So I got a ball for 2 things here to dodge the Swamp Hag. Let's go ahead and take what? I'm going to want a Bridge Troll soon, now that I'm about to enter champion territory. I'm not taking it this turn. Probably Page, just get a free Copper Trash in. And I guess that Rat Catcher that I've been talking about. Alright. Militia, I don't like you. Okay, a little bit awkward. I think I'm going to keep these cards and see how that goes. Seems to have gone well, all things considered. Got that champion down. Play the warrior. Turn that treasure hunter into another warrior. And it's time for a bridge troll. I think I maybe at some point can consider turning warrior into hero. Again, gold isn't so bad in a deck with storyteller, but I've only got the 1 storyteller right now. Here's a relevant consideration. I play warrior now. Actually, does the bot have champion down? It does not. So if I play warrior now, it checks for 3 and 4 cost cards. If I play bridge troll first and then warrior, it'll check for 4 and 5 cost cards, which I would rather do because the bot has a bridge troll in its deck. And if I hit the bridge troll, that'd be quite good. Also, I don't particularly want to trash silvers for the bot because silvers aren't a very good card. So yeah, bridge troll first, then warrior. Ah, look at that. It did end up mattering. There is definitely a natural tendency to want to just like click all your draw cards first and then think when you get to the end of your deck, because that's how it goes like 89% of the time. Is the correct order is play your draw cards at the beginning, play the payload cards at the end. But occasionally it can pay off to stop and think a little bit about the proper order, and then things like, oh, play the bridge troll early, turn out to be correct sometimes. This might be too many. Honestly, I should have paid way more attention to that than I did. I was literally just talking about the importance of play order, and then I did a fairly reckless thing there. With Storyteller, it actually is kind of important to make sure that you're paying some level of attention to how much money you're spending, because you're converting your money into your draw, and you want to convert as much money as is needed to draw the rest of your cards, but not more. Because if you spend too much money, you're just wasting money that you would have had at the end of the turn otherwise. And I did precisely that. Okay. I'm going to discard two good cards here and then play the Magpie. And now it top decks both of those for next turn because it triggered a shuffle that just has the two good cards I discarded. I don't want to play both Thunders on the same turn. I want them to alternate. So it's better to leave them down there. And here, fall for a Bridge Troll and a second Storyteller and buy a Workshop. Treasure Hunter, Hero. Think no to both. Thankfully, I'm now protected against militia attacks by Champion. One thing to note about the interaction between a card like Champion and Swamp Hag is if your opponent plays a Swamp Hag, say on turn 11, and then on your turn 12, you play a Champion, and then you enter your buy phase, even though you now have a Champion that protects you from all attacks, technically the point that the Swamp Hag attack hit and cursed you with the status effect was when your opponent played it the previous turn. So if you didn't have the champion in effect then, you're still going to be under the Swamp Hag attack next turn, even if you've now got a champion to play for your buy phase. Um, Not that that's relevant right now, just something to watch out for. Okay, I'm hoping to have enough draw to gain and play and one more Bridge Troll, which looks like yes, I definitely will. Here it's important not to play a card and trigger a shuffle. So, for example, I could have discarded two bad cards and then played the page, but then I would have drawn one of those bad cards and top decked the other one, which I don't want to do. We're getting very close to a win here. I think I just want a million more Bridge Trolls, right? I expect to draw next turn. Take a merchant. What is in the bot's deck over there? Seemingly nothing. Wait, did the bot just never have a page? I was thinking maybe it's struggling because at some point my warrior trashed its warrior and I didn't notice. I think it just never had one. Well, that's no good. Uh, so now I have too many bridge trolls for the the warrior to realistically hit the bot's card. So I'd kind of want to trash 4-cost cards if the bot's deck is all magpies and militias. But if I've got two bridge trolls in play already, those 4-cost cards all cost 2. It's not going to matter. Um, just got to find a storyteller, and then I should be good to go. They're both hiding towards the bottom. There we go. Okay, I got 9 cards left. I'm gonna want to draw a 10th card as well because my workshop is gonna gain me one more bridge troll. I think I can afford to spend a good chunk of money here. Yeah, this works out. Workshop gains one more bridge troll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Provinces all cost 1. Annoyingly, I'm 1 coin short of piling up the provinces. Maybe there's a slightly better way to play that out that could have saved me 1 coin. Okay, well, instead, I guess we're just piling out bridge trolls and rat catchers. Is that actually the only win here with this many bridge trolls in play? I think this might be literally the only winning play. No, no, it is not. Um, I could also do bridge trolls and duchies, bridge trolls and estates, for example. And then I'm 1 buy short because that's 9 buys. I don't, only have 8 buys. But then I can click ball and ball for the last 2. This is actually less points than the other pile out. Bridge troll rat catcher. I could end with a ball for double province. Not that it matters too much. Okay. Yeah, I think this game plan's pretty straightforward. Uh, buy a page early, play it a bunch, get to champion. And once you get a champion, add all the bridge trolls. I expect that whoever has better fortune finding their page early and often is very likely to win here. I think there's maybe some non-obvious decisions in the very opening, as far as what makes you most likely to do that the fastest. Like I'm still unsure about the best opening here, but I think good fortune and shuffles is going to matter a lot in this kingdom. What was the bot doing? So the bot did have a treasure hunter. Why did it have a treasure hunter at this state of the game? Okay, it opened with militia, which again looks rather bad. Annoyingly, did kind of matter. Ratcatcher. I mean, on its own, not a terrible opening. Seems a little bit slower than the other stuff. Obviously, thinning is good, uh, but there's a lot of cards here, dungeon and so on, that are doing a lot more to accelerate your deck faster than thinning slowly over time. Like Ratcatcher's not the fastest trasher. It trashes 1 card and with a 1 turn delay. So adding a card like Dungeon immediately is getting you cycling a lot more. The immediate value of Magpie is higher. Plan trashes you a card immediately before you've even shuffled your deck for the first time. And so it never stood out to me, even though it's a card you would naturally kind of want in the opening, just because there's other stuff here that is higher impact sooner. So I don't love the Ratcatcher, but I dislike the Militia. And I dislike that neither of these is page. I think getting a champion ASAP is super important. Bot takes Magpie, which again would not be a bad buy, except that it just never added a page to its deck. Another Magpie. Yeah, so the insane thing here from the bot is just not buying Page. Page is one of the like I'd say easily like top 10 strongest cards in the game, just because champion is so often impactful. And definitely true here, given that it's the only village. And so the bot just doesn't have a coherent game plan in a kingdom where like, clearly the winning condition is playing Bridge Troll, and clearly the only way to do that is playing champion. And clearly the only way to get champion is to get a page started down the path early. And the bot just never does step 1 of that, so it can't do step 2 or step 3. And yeah, it's kind of dead in the water from the opening. I don't think I even realized that until very late in the game, but yeah, I don't think it has the the correct game plan here. Certainly not.